Microsoft showed off a bunch of games coming out for the new Xbox Series X, and basically showed off what they think the future will hold, which gives us a good idea of their thoughts and what they intend to do with life. The first thing I really noticed was that it felt very corporate, very Redmond. If you know the Seattle area, you know that Redmond is where Microsoft is and where a lot of people act fairly corporate or trying to appear to be more than what they are, until they become big enough so that they can dress as the techno-Viking that they actually are. You could see this the easiest whenever somebody made a presentation and you noticed their head was slightly tilted back. This is so that you don't notice the kind of neck bulge that happens when you work too much in an office. But enough about that. Let's talk about the games. What I really noticed was that there seemed to be 3 or 4 varieties of games, or narrative within the style. The first one I really noticed is something I call first-person Power Rangers with guns. This genre is best known by Doom and, well, Doom. Is the main character a bit of a badass? Is there a suit that just makes you really cool? Are there a ton of goons to kill? Is there possible squad and person versus person tactics? Is your main character able to do really cool things like drive a giant truck and then go out and do a really cool kill against somebody? Then you likely are playing a first-person Power Rangers with guns. Personally, I want to try out the Halo Infinite one. It has a much larger world, seems much more open, and this is the part that really gets me. It seems like you're going to take over multiple worlds. You have to defeat the Brute in every world you go to, which means it's much bigger, much more open than anything else, though the pop-up is kind of noticeable. However, this means that the DLC is just more worlds, literally more worlds. It can just keep going on forever, which is way more than any of the other games offered. To add more to the gameplay, it looks like they're using a lot of ideas from different games, like the Ubisoft open world game and the takedown system of Doom with the grappling hook from so many games to kind of create this full character. It just seems so much better. And yeah, it's on my list. I haven't felt this excited for a Halo since Halo 2. The next major game theme was Nature Corrupted. It starts with the idea that something in nature is very, very wrong. As a character, you're just trying to survive it. There is a contrast between the world you live in now and the world that was, or the world that can be, and you are split between them, trying to stop the corruption from growing. Without the corruption, things are beautiful and amazing, and you are part of this nature. You're one with nature, and you're worried that the corruption is harming things. Far greater, you have the ability to make it right. By some device or ability, you can change things and uncorrupt things, which the corruption does not want to happen. The game that caught my attention the most was Everwild. It's just got a good art style, seems to move correctly, and just has this world that I want to explore. So yeah. Oh, and it's made by Rare. So there is a lot to look forward to. Though I think the gunk looks just as cool, it doesn't quite have the atmosphere and feel as Everwild. I'm interested in both, though. The one-play-only narrative game is probably the most prolific game you'll hear about at one of these displays. If you really want to know, this isn't much of a Microsoft thing, more of a Sony-made thing. They make and produce a lot of these games, and probably started the idea amongst movie makers trying to move into the video game industry. The story is central to what you're viewing, and the character within that story is well acted and wins a lot of awards for how they're portrayed. In fact, there's more acting and cutscenes than there is, game. There is a heavy narrative in the story, and they work really hard for you to know how the characters feel and how they do things. However, once you know the story, you don't really want to play the game again because there's no reason. You know the story, you've seen the characters acted out, and you just go, yeah, okay. So it goes back to the shelf and probably ends up on the bargain bin. I've bought a lot of these games for $1 at various game stores. What gameplay there is usually involves puzzles and trying to figure out how the world works. And then another cutscene. And then another cutscene. But it's really amazing to look at. I mean, they work really hard on graphically enhancing everything, showing the subtleties of the character and how everything works. So you really want to know what's going to happen next. Yes, Medium is in 2 different categories. The game that catches my interest, though, is Psychonauts 2. I've played the first one. It wasn't that bad. It was a bit weird. I only played it once, of course. There's a lot more gameplay, actual game to this game, so it's already winning. Plus, the graphics look nice, it's kind of a trippy game, and it's just not dark. The other games I'll probably play for Halloween or something, but this, I think I could play it a couple times maybe. It might actually beat the others just because I can play it more than once. Finally, we have sequels to games I play anyway. The type of games that I play all the time. So when I see a sequel, I just go, yeah, okay. Is that a sequel to Forza Motorsport? Yeah, graphics look nice. Yeah, okay. It's Tetris. You play it a lot. Your entire family plays it. You know a lot of girls who play it. It's just a game. You go, yeah, okay. Wow, this game looks fantastic. Kind of nice graphics. I wonder what it's about. Oh. Oh, it's a sequel to Fable! Yeah, okay. The game that, of course, gets my entire interest is Phantasy Star Online 2. It's a sequel to an absolutely amazing game for the Dreamcast and had a couple sequels, sort of, for the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, and the GameCube. It also inspired a bunch of other games like Monster Hunter and some... Oh man, just so many RPGs are based on the ideas that you get from this game. So yeah, of course I'm going to look at this game. Of course I'm going to be interested in it. It's a classic with great graphics and really improved all around. So yeah, okay, I'm looking at this one. One final thing I noticed is how many games were actually going to the PC as well. This makes sense since Microsoft is a major company for PC video games. The first is, of course, Valve, which makes the absolutely amazing Steam and a very large amount of games that people respect and enjoy playing. But Valve couldn't get into the console industry. They tried the exact same thing Microsoft did. They made a console PC and tried to move it in, and it just didn't work out. They've tried a couple of different ways, and it's just not working. So Microsoft, in a way, has beat Valve. And yet, even though Microsoft owns Windows, the very program that runs the games on your PC, they are second fiddle to Valve when it comes to PC gaming. Microsoft has been trying to move into the PC console type world where the Xbox would be the low-end console and the PC would be the high-end type thing, so that the games would go interactively back and forth. They don't see them as different because they want to run them both. So it makes sense that they want to do it this way. And it leaves us to another video later on where we compare the aim for the games and for the style from Microsoft to Sony to the big Nintendo.